Did they botch the investigation of a serial killer because of prejudice inside the force?
Catching images of what they believe are ghosts on surveillance
The
cameras.
victims there were vulnerable women, many indigenous.
The world is a lot.
It really is. That's why we started our podcast, Sick Sad World.
I am Jasmine, and this is my co-host Mari. And we host a bi-weekly podcast on all things macabre.
We cover anything from serial killers to cults to alien conspiracies to ghost stories and so much more.
We are childhood friends, and we're both passionate about social justice.
We'll discuss how these things intersect with racism, sexism, ableism, and queermisia.
We both have unique perspectives coming from marginalized identities. Me as a black cis woman, and Mari as a disabled trans person.
We offer the kinds of conversations we felt were missing in true crime and horror.
And we're hoping you'll join the conversation too.
So check out Sick Sad World. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and pretty much wherever you can find your podcasts.
Hello, 5 listeners. Welcome
to the Perhaps It's You podcast.
We are an unofficial Unsolved Mysteries rewatch podcast, and I'm Liz.
And I'm Samantha, and we're joined by a special guest.
Hello, I'm Arden. I'm not part of this podcast.
Well, you are now.
You are a special guest, friend of the pod. Arden is here today to help us talk about Season 2, Episode 16 already.
I know. Can you believe how fast we've gone through this?
I'm slightly concerned because we're going to run out of
Unsolved Mysteries content.
We're going to run out of content.
Eventually.
But let's not think about that right now.
Yeah. Let's just think about episode 16.
When you said 16, I was like, oh yeah, I have tons of time. This is going to be months and months. No, it's already here.
It snuck up on us. It's all these lost love mysteries. Feels like it's flying by.
I feel like this season is getting better, progressively better as it goes on. It started off, it was a bit of a...
Not great.
It was... We really went, why do we have an Unsolved Mysteries podcast? This was a huge mistake. But the past few I've actually enjoyed.
The last one was great.
This one's, yeah.
The crop circles? What is your theory, Arden, about what makes crop circles?
Definitely hedgehogs.
Definitely.
For sure.
Agreed.
Hedgehog truther.
I agree.
We're getting shirts. I would like a embroidered leather jacket, too.
Oh, with a hedgehog on it?
Yeah.
Those hedgehogs are badass.
Yeah.
How else are they making those crop circles?
I have a friend with a really cute hedgehog named Peaches Von Cream that could model for us.
I have discovered that is the cutest name ever. A lot of our listeners have pet hedgehogs. They've been posting them in our Facebook group.
I loved seeing everybody's photos of their hedgehogs.
Shout out to Hazel. Hazel, you are the cutest hedgehog I've ever seen. Oh my god.
Shout out to a hedgehog.
That's the best kind of shout out.
Yes, I did just shout out a hedgehog.
If anybody else has a pet hedgehog, they should definitely join the Facebook group.
And
they
share
should
a photo.
Definitely post a picture of their hedgehog so I can say, give me that hedgehog.
Yes, that's what Liz has been saying on every photo.
Give me!
It's a little scary.
Demanding the hedgehogs.
I mean, so far my demands have gone pretty well. Probably I'm not going to get people's pets.
Probably not.
I did get a Wolfgang von Snowden, though, so...
It's true. We can't hurt to ask. Worst thing that happens is you don't have a hedgehog.
I don't have a hedgehog now,
This
so...
parcel has a lot of holes in it. Oh, wait, there's a hedgehog inside. Best fan mail ever.
Yeah, that would be kind of terrifying. Poor hedgehog.
A little
getting
traumatizing.
Sent through the mail.
It's true. So, do we have any updates?
Other than hedgehog love? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Arden, you like to watch Unsolved Mysteries. You were just telling us that you watch along on Hulu. Mm-hmm. Because it's also on... I keep forgetting that the show is also on Hulu.
Well, we don't mention it because it's not in the same order. So we're not going by a Hulu order. And also, sometimes they don't have all the seasons up.
Yeah.
So that seems frustrating.
Also, Hulu makes you watch commercials even though you pay for the fucking service, which I resent.
Not if you pay even more.
Yeah, exactly.
They extort you.
I've been very much extorted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Unsolved Mysteries?
Oh.
What is your favorite mystery?
It's hard.
Or a good mystery, in your opinion? It's always hard to pick a favorite.
Okay, wait. If you're having a near-death experience and you get to get one mystery solved...
Oh.
What?
Just any mystery, like, in the world.
Any mystery.
Yes.
Not even one on Unsolved Mysteries.
That's so hard. Like, the cliche, like, John Bonet, I need answers.
That was my
does come
answer.
to mind. I know, like, it's... I need...
Who killed John Benet Ramsey?
I really need answers.
I mean, we
Even though
kind of know, but...
We know,
but we'd like to have
I need a definitive answer.
proof.
Yeah. There's a lot of unsolved murders I would really love answers for. It's too hard to pick
Pick just one.
one.
That's how I feel.
Roberta Williams, maybe.
Okay.
If you listen to the Missing and Murdered podcast,
Oh.
Yes.
Missing Murdered Indigenous Women in Canada, their season 1 is about who killed Alberta Williams. And there's some strong evidence towards a couple people, but no real answers. So that would be a good one, because now I must know.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That is a really good answer.
That's also a great podcast. Sorry to try to steal your 5 listeners.
No.
We like to recommend other podcasts, and I haven't listened to the entire season of that one, but I have listened to a few episodes, and it is good.
It's also
I mean,
hard.
there's people that listen to. They can't get enough podcasts. So
Right.
I feel like we can share the love. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
really also, they should probably listen to other podcasts.
If this was the only podcast you listened to, I would question your judgment.
Hi, Mom.
We're not counting our moms, okay?
Pretty sure that's the case.
We're not counting our moms, but
Oh, yeah.
yes. Exactly.
I'm just happy that finally we get to share with the world Arden's voice, which is my
Oh, no.
which is my
Oh, no.
favorite. And I wish that Arden read audiobooks because I stan
Yes.
Arden, and then I could just hear her voice all day.
Have you considered being an audiobook narrator?
I have not. That has never crossed my mind before.
Are you going to do it now?
Maybe. Let me call up Audible. Oh, Tangent.
Okay.
Yes.
Unsolved Mysteries. Some semi-related tangent and audiobooks, because it was one of your recommendations. I do not join book club because I'm a flake and can never get my act together in time. But I do sometimes read or listen to the books after the fact. And Get Well Soon was amazing.
It's so
I love
good.
that
Loved
book
it.
so much.
But it's read by the same narrator who narrates Into the Dark.
Oh, okay.
And that was very strange for the first 2 chapters for
Is
me.
that where I've heard that narrator before? Because
Probably.
I recognized her.
Yeah, I had just finished listening to that maybe a month prior, and then it's this voice in my head, and I'm like, oh no, the Golden State Killer is back. I
Yes.
can't
For
escape.
me.
I knew it because that book is so sassy too.
Yes.
That, I mean, she does a great job. But yeah, sometimes I'll listen to an audiobook and I'll be like, I recognize this voice.
Yeah.
And
It's very strange.
It can be distracting at times. I recently listened to the audiobook for, I think I mentioned this on our last podcast, maybe, her other book, Jennifer Wright's other book, the one about breakups.
It ended badly.
Yes, which is very good. I
on my
didn't
wish
enjoy
list.
it quite as much as Get Well Soon. I think, but that wasn't the book's problem. I think that's just me liking weird shit more than
Horrifying.
more than
diseases. Yeah.
relationships throughout history. I just would rather read about plagues than
They were so funny, those plagues.
the dancing plague.
And so awful, so funny, and
So
so
yes,
awful.
They're all really terrible, but
The epilogue made me cry.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
yep.
oof, brutal.
Yeah, but amazing book. Honestly, one of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah,
I've
I've
been
been.
somehow even more angry at anti-vaxxers, which I didn't know was possible.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Sorry, any of you 5 listeners who don't believe in vaccinations.
Well, we don't want them to listen
Yeah,
to
they
this
can
podcast. We'll happily go down to 4 listeners
Yeah.
if one of our 5 is.
If you want us all to have polio, we don't really need to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, no.
We're also doing a second part of the cemetery tour next weekend for
Hell yeah.
pioneers and soldiers in South Minneapolis, their memorial cemetery. And I know our tour guide, Sue, who's completely amazing, is going to go on a please vaccinate your children rant based on the number of dead children that are in that cemetery. And if you do historic research around death, I think you end up feeling very passionately that, people would have preferred to have those children around.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb.
What?
Right.
I'm not a
No.
historian, but
Yeah.
so I'm looking forward to that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's just how we spend our summer.
Going on cemetery tours. 'Tis the season.
Listening to books about horrifying diseases that
you
are
know.
really sassy.
Yes.
So good.
That book was really good.
So good.
All right, should we jump right in, feet first, into this mystery?
Yes. This is a little bit weird because Arden has our first mystery
Yes.
this week, and it's because I know she has a familial connection to the psychic realm.
Yes.
So we wanted to
wanna
bring her
hear
in,
it.
not just for her immaculate voice, but for her her expertise.
Yes.
And we didn't have a really good psychic mystery this season. So this is the closest we could find.
But you have a really long psychic mystery.
Yeah, not a good one, just a long one.
Yes,
with a lot of slow-mo.
Very long. Arden pointed out something that I didn't realize when I was watching the show, but it's like part 1 and 2. So this originally aired as a 2-parter?
Who tuned in for that second part?
I have no idea.
It's not terrible, but it's also like, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
It could have been so much shorter.
It's just really drawn out.
It did not need to be this long. Also, Robert Stack throwing some major shade when he talks about how Sandra, don't worry, she doesn't read psychic magazines or esoteric materials.
I wrote this down too.
I wrote that down
I was like, do I read esoteric materials?
I wrote down, where can I find these psychic magazines? Because they sound amazing.
They used to have, again, R.I.P. Borders. Borders used to
Liz
have...
stands Borders. So hard.
Borders was so much better than Barnes & Noble. I'm going to say it.
I spent so much of my life at Borders, I cannot even tell you. But they used to have a section of, like, paranormal magazines, and they would have these, like...
What? An esoteric material?
Yeah, esoteric material, including, like, Psychic magazine, where, I don't know, psychics wrote columns about things. And I don't know what became of all those magazines now that I can't
I wonder if
browse
my
them.
familial connection had one of those columns, because I really would not put it past her. That sounds exactly like what she would be up to.
I just have to say that I Googled the definition of esoteric, and the definition is intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with specialized knowledge or interest.
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
I'm like looking at like a stack of witch books in the corner.
Mothman came to mind when I read that definition.
I haven't actually read anything about Mothman
That's true.
yet. Though you were talking about getting a Mothman tattoo.
I honestly think I might.
Tramp stamp.
I
Yes.
would
Maybe.
love to get a tramp stamp.
Of
Why not?
Mothman?
I really...
Well, no,
Sure.
just of something.
Oh,
I definitely want... That's probably like my next tattoo.
Love
I love
it.
them.
Love it.
People can suck it.
Exactly.
Tramp stamps are great.
I support it. 100%.
I really like the produced by Dick Wolf tramp stamp. Have you seen the
So
guy?
great.
I had like 10 people set, like, Liz, have you seen this Law and Order themed tramp stamp? And I was like, it's beautiful.
But no, like, picture it, Samantha, you could have them, like, a moth in the middle and then Mothman, like, right above each cheek.
With the bridge, like, bridges one cheek to the other.
Beautiful.
I like this idea.
I'm sure Travis will be into it.
I'm sure he will. Yeah, I'm
I
keeping
did
that
see
in
a
the back of my
huge
mind.
moth the other day and I freaked out.
Could have been Mothman.
Could have been
A miniature Mothman, perhaps.
warning us about something minor.
Something.
Mothman.
We did talk on our ghost tour, because there was, in downtown Stillwater, there is a statue of a dragonfly, and
It's like creepy looking.
as we walked by, I quipped that I wish it was a statue of a moth, so we could have a photo in front of it, and then Liz made a joke about how it was Dragonfly Man.
We're
and
so
how
lame.
Dragonfly Man warns you about much more minor.
Yeah, he's like, you're
Incidents
gonna
in
run
your-
out of milk. It's like not disasters so much as inconveniences.
You're gonna clip your toenails too short.
That's not actually recyclable. Sorry.
That's just Mac, actually.
Macman.
That is Macman coming up and going, are you sure you can compost that, Liz? That is my life. Oh my sweet lord.
Okay, let's hear.
Samantha's like, this is not what we need to talk about.
I'm not helping.
I want to discuss Arden's psychic connection.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
Yes, we should.
First. Okay.
Because it's going to be far more interesting than this mystery.
I really should have called them up.
Oh, okay.
Fetus Arden should have rang the Unsolved Mysteries.
Yes.
Like, hotline. And
You
like,
should have.
I need to talk to you about some things because my family is lit. So my family actually has like a really, it sounds super cheesy, but like a really long line of like fortune telling practices.
That
for,
doesn't
like,
sound cheesy. That sounds amazing.
I feel like
incredible.
everyone says that. It's like, I come from a family tradition. And I'm like, okay, you need to calm down. But, sorry.
Who's going to fact check that, you know?
Exactly.
No one knows.
It's like, oh, my great-great-great-grandmother was an Indian princess. And it's like, no, she wasn't. That's not a real thing. You're a racist. Go away. But no, like, it stems from, like, Norwegian sort of, like, folklore witchcraft that sort of got mixed in with Christian traditions as like Christianity spread through Scandinavia. Like many other parts of the world, they just sort of co-opted some of their folk religion into Christianity, and they're like, we can go to church and then like
Sure.
read cards afterwards. These things don't have to be separate, which I think is kind of cool. Like, there was a lot less of, like, oh, if you're doing that, you're a witch and we need to kill you. It's like, no, it's just Nana. It's fine.
That's just what she does.
Right.
It's good. My family's tradition, apparently it's pretty common in other, especially like Northern Europe. We actually read playing cards and not tarot cards.
Sure.
But it's the same basic idea where face cards represent like certain archetypes and people, but it's a lot more personalized than tarot. Instead of like a face card representing, it's like, this is like the Emperor of Pentacles. It means this thing. It's like the King of Hearts is like your card, and so the other ones around it represent what's happening to you personally.
Oh,
And it depends,
okay.
like each person has like a face card that they like the most or feel like represents them, and so you read around that one. And you take all the cards, you take the jokers out, you spread them out, and they sort of clump up. The numbers don't really mean anything, especially any number like below 5 is basically
Okay.
just filler. But because of those spaces, the face cards clump together, and then you sort of interpret from where they're put together what that means.
Ooh.
They also read coffee grounds instead of tea leaves, which I find really amusing.
That's so Norwegian.
Tea is not really a thing, or at least wasn't at the time in
Yeah,
Norway. But
yeah.
coffee did not get strained as much as it does
Sure.
now in the past, and so yeah, you would read coffee grounds instead of tea leaves.
Fascinating. So are you practiced in the art of
Not
card reading?
as much as I used to be. I used to
Okay.
be much more into it. I haven't done it in a while. Like, my grandma taught me, and my mom and my aunt. It's sort of just a tradition that's like passed down from like the older women in our family. Her mom did it, her aunts did it, their mom did it, sort of brought down. And her cousin, Cabrina, Sandy, actually, it's not actually Cabrina, it's Sandy, also did it, and she became quite famous for her card reading skills as well as her like predictions.
Yeah.
And she became Cabrina Kincaid, psychic to the stars. She had her own television show for a while, sort of like a Madame Cleo thing where you could call in and get
Ooh.
predictions from Cabrina. But for a while, she was several celebrities, just sort of like personal psychic, and several like old school Hollywood types in like the late 50s and early 60s, like made decisions based on my cousin's predictions. But she was always,
I can't think of anything more glamorous.
I know.
she was super glamorous. Like, she, unfortunately, she made quite a bit of money and then spent like all of it on living a very glamorous lifestyle. But
Well, I mean, you got to when you're the psychic to the stars.
Pretty much.
she got in a fist fight with Zsa Zsa Gabor once.
What?
Like, she was up over a man, which is silly, but also
No, that's
typical.
amazing. Are you kidding? I would love to have been in a fist fight with Zsa Zsa Gabor over anything.
Pretty much.
Anything with her, really.
The reason that this came up, the reason I even learned this about Arden is because recently Zsa Zsa Gabor's estate was up for auction.
We discussed this
and
at brunch.
I
beautiful.
can't claim to be like a Zsa Zsa Gabor fan, but I was just
What would
randomly.
that even entail?
Yeah, I don't even know. Just me sitting around watching Green Acres all day. But
There was like panther topiaries and like
the stuff that was for sale is all shit I want. Yes, like gigantic statues of leopards. Her feather boa is made out of like actual ostrich feathers.
So many feather boas.
Yeah. Like darling, spelled out the way she said it in diamonds as a necklace. And I was like, I want all of this stuff. It's the most glamorous thing
Not
I've
rhinestones.
ever
Real
seen.
diamonds.
In real diamonds. She got a tacky phrase spelled out in real diamonds, which is, I've got to fan myself. I want that so bad. And I was like, I want all of these things. And then Arden was like, oh yeah, my cousin once got in a fight with Zsa Zsa Gabor.
I just have to make everything about myself. And
No,
here we are.
are you kidding? If you have that story, you tell it.
Claim to fame.
Yes. I was so impressed when I was once having dinner with my friend's grandmother, and she was like, oh yeah, I once stayed at a hotel Truman Capote was at, and he got drunk and ran around naked.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, you better bring that story up every day.
oh, I would.
Because it's great. Everyone needs to know. So, Arden, walk us through this unexplained, slightly psychic story from
Very
episode 16.
lightly psychic story.
Yeah, there's a lot of slow-mo reenactments in this.
At one point, I sent Liz a message when I was watching this, and I was like, I feel like I've been sedated. It's like everything is in slow motion. Or like
might
it's
be trying to
underwater
hypnotize you.
or something. I'm like, this whole mystery could be half as long if they just played it at normal speed.
There's a lot of like long panning shots of river boats and horses.
Yes.
I didn't know
Snow.
horses in slow motion were so terrifying.
It's really creepy, actually.
I don't like it
It was
at all.
just horses lifting their heads,
I
but
could smell the
slowly.
horses. I could smell the leather. No, that's not good.
No. Yeah, no.
Like psychic horse smelling. There's a reason that's not really talked about as like an arcane art of psychic horse smelling.
She didn't get her own show from her psychic horse smelling.
No. She did
Tune
not.
in this week.
It's like the horse whisperer, but the horse smeller.
The horse smeller is...
Let me describe to you what this horse
He's
smelled like.
The horse smeller is a wanted criminal.
There is a show on Netflix that Netflix... you know how sometimes Netflix really wants you to watch something and you're like, no, I'm not going to. Stop it, Netflix.
And then you get bitter about it.
Yeah, well, that show for me right now is called The Sniffer.
What?
And it's about a guy solving mysteries based on smells.
No.
What?
Yeah.
Satire.
No, and it's,
Oh, God.
I think it's from the Ukraine.
You need to watch this
That
and
sounds
report back.
great.
The sniffer?
The Sniffer. My
Does
mom
he
has
have
been
an
watching it.
unusually strong sense of smell?
Yeah, he has like, you know how people who work in perfume have like a great
That's
nose
not gonna
or
hold up
something?
in court, though. Like, here we present the sniffer. He has a very strong nose, you see.
You're gonna have to watch it to find out. I've been like, Netflix, stop it. I'm not gonna watch The Sniffer.
The sniffer sounds also like a really gross sex act.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
There's also probably a pornographic version of this show, but
Called-
Netflix
yes.
doesn't want me to watch that one.
The sniffer is not the
Or
porn
it's
you
an
want to watch. Or
off-brand
maybe it is.
Swiffer.
I don't know.
Yes. If I went to the dollar store and bought a Swiffer, but it was called
The sniffer. Yeah, that's the other option.
The sniffer.
Compare to Swiffer.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We're off the rails already.
I've got to get it together.
Okay, it's all our
no.
fault. No.
This is not helpful.
Go ahead.
I'll leave now. Okay, so we start with Georgia Rudolph. She is 41 years old, but has been having these dreams and like waking sort of like daydreams her whole life,
Her
purportedly,
visions.
Yes.
of what she now believes to be a past life. She didn't initially know what it was. She couldn't place where it was or what time it was, but she had this very strong connection to this other girl and young woman whose like face was just like burned into her mind. She drew a lot of really creepy drawings.
Terrible drawings as a child.
That's what was it? Other Michelle? New Michelle?
Oh, New Michelle.
Oh my god, that's what I picture New Michelle looks like.
Oh
those
my
drawings,
God.
because I think it was the nose, like very Voldemort-esque nose. Fortunately, the actress they picked to reenact that did not look like these drawings.
Did not
Thank
look like
God.
Slenderman
So
with a wig.
Slenderman's girlfriend,
Slenderma'am.
Sandra.
Slender ma'am? What? Yes. Yes. Slender ma'am.
As seen in her visions. Her psychic horse smelling visions of an old-timey past where you have a big fur muff.
Huge fur muff. I kind of love that muff though.
I
It's very
kinda,
sassy.
yeah.
I might have a muff hanging on the back of my basement door. Like, I might need it at any second.
You know.
Yeah. Have I ever used it? No. Anyway, go on.
I have a matching giant black fuzzy fake fur muff and
Sure,
matching humongous fuzzy black earmuffs.
That seems like a good look for you.
Yeah,
It
just like
does.
cartoonishly huge earmuffs. They're so warm. It's amazing. But
Show endorses muffs.
You know.
fake fur muffs.
You know.
Not the real animal kind. That's sad. But you could just carry around Lenny.
You could.
Very similar effect.
She's going like,
Okay, gotta get it together. All right, so Georgia has also been adopted, and it sounds like she was in the foster care system for a while. So for a while, she was thinking these early memories were like past family experiences that she just couldn't remember, and there was no one to tell her about because
Sure.
she didn't know her family.
Obviously, it was a past life. What a...
If her parents were LARPers, maybe. Like,
remember that time we went to Colonial Williamsburg and
we went on a
horses walked in slow motion?
We went on a steamboat for 3 days. filmed all of it very
Remember that time
slowly.
we dressed you like an American Girl doll at Christmas?
Yes. Oh, what was the colonial one?
Samantha.
No, that was the Victorian
Okay,
one.
okay. I only ever remember Samantha because I wanted a
Sure.
Samantha doll so much, but we couldn't afford an American Girl
That's
doll because
because
come on.
$10 billion.
Yeah.
It's a huge ripoff.
It's crazy.
And the Target sells those dolls for like...
I really want IKEA, but no one
Okay,
will ever
okay.
come IKEA.
was
I'm not bitter. It's fine.
I know.
I think I wanted a Samantha too. Does Samantha have brunette hair?
Yes.
And bangs.
Yeah.
She was
yeah,
the
that's
rich
the one I
one.
wanted.
Yeah.
I just wanted her because she had my name. My
Sure.
mom would always tell me, though, that we couldn't have one because if you got an American Girl doll, you couldn't ever take them out of the box.
Rude.
Okay.
Because they're so fancy. It was like the Beanie Babies that would lose their value if you took them out of the box and cut their tag off.
I always got the American Girl doll catalogs.
Sure.
As a child, I would just pour over these
You would
catalogs.
just like circle. I'm like, oh, I'll get this. I'll get this.
You
And
know,
then you're like,
her
and I'll
horse
just-
does need accessories too. You're very right, American Girl Company. Now there's a store at the Mall of America that you can take your doll for like sushi at, though. So clearly people are taking them out of the box.
Yeah, your
yeah.
mom lied to you.
Well, that was because she, you know...
Didn't want to.
That's why
No,
you
they're
couldn't get an American
they're
Girl
so
doll.
expensive.
$500
Yeah.
on a doll.
Yes.
You're gonna outgrow in 2 years.
Ridiculous.
But yes, we do get to see some solid old timey
So
turn of the
much.
century fashion, muffs, bonnets,
Giant furry hats.
bowler caps.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And Robert Stack reminds us that this was turn of the century 14,000
A lot.
times.
A
Yeah.
lot.
It's like,
We're-
thanks.
Just in
Stack.
case you forgot, the time period we're flashing back to is turn of the century.
It's like, thanks.
Go read some esoteric material, Robert Stack.
Some psychic magazines. So she starts seeing a therapist, which I think is probably a fair
I mean, it really
fair thing to
everyone
do
should.
for everyone, but particularly, and like there's like I feel like these flashbacks are like the least of your trauma, Georgia.
Yeah.
If you're
really.
drawing these creepy drawings all day,
I
every
think
day.
there may have been some demonic possession going on too.
Could have been.
So this guy, I wrote down, his name is Dr. Douglas Smith. He is not my pick for MVM.
You mean this
Yes,
man?
yes. He also
Who I doodled right here?
That's a remarkably accurate
wow.
the
drawing.
hypnotist.
we need to post that.
And I wrote, is this guy Merlin?
Maybe.
Like if Merlin got transported
knock off
to-
Merlin.
What is that mustache on the next page? Does that include teeth?
Don't jump ahead. Also,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
That's
Oh, I
terrifying.
think I know what mustache that is. Oh no.
The teeth seemed like a key feature of the mustache.
Yes, but out of context, it's like very disturbing.
I'm just gonna try to unsee
It looks
that.
kind of like a sushi roll, actually.
Caterpillar roll.
All right, don't look at that. Just look at the hypnotist over
He
here.
either has
But-
what's incredibly shiny hair or a really bad wig.
I think it's a really bad wig.
Yeah.
It matches his mustache perfectly, though. I'm like, is your
The
mustache, also
could,
fake?
It could be. We've seen
Maybe.
a few.
It's all very
Fake
creepy.
mustaches.
I don't like any of it.
I don't think he's eligible for MVM because he has a beard.
That's true.
This is the rule
also
Liz
creepy.
made up that I don't agree with, but that's fine.
I'm very adamant about it though.
He asserts that he thought that Georgia had some like serious trauma problems, that maybe she had some issues with schizophrenia. Like he lists a bunch of things he thought this
You
could
want your
be.
therapist to be saying this about you
About
on
you.
television? So her diagnosis is...
She's a crazy lunatic. Ha ha ha. Like, okay, your hairstylist, you need to psycho.
Yeah.
Guys,
you need to analyze your...
Judge me? Look at your wig.
Yeah.
Analyze yourself, dude.
Although he does back it up that he thinks she's a very stable person.
That's true.
Okay.
And then the psychic magazines get brought up. Very important. She does not read psychic magazines.
Okay, because we
guys.
know if she did...
Fraud.
I'm gonna see if I can still subscribe to any of those magazines, but go on.
Please let us know. And they do some like hypnosis therapy to try to trigger these memories, and we get to see a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, in black and white.
They say it's a real session too, and I'm like, ooh,
And you can tell because they
is that even legal?
put it in black and white.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess if she agrees to
Yeah, I
it,
suppose.
but it's still creepy.
It was
It's
very weird.
It also doesn't look super real. I don't want to say that she's faking it, but if I could imagine what you would pretend to look like if you were
Flutter, flutter, flutter.
pretty much.
Yeah,
It looked like someone pretending to be hypnotized.
I smell the horses.
Yeah.
I feel the night.
Listen,
On a very
Georgia,
special episode of The Horse Sniffer.
I'm just saying, it looks like someone pretending to be hypnotized.
Yes, which is what's happening. So they go through these hypnotic sessions with psychologist Douglas Smith. I'm pretty questionable about Douglas Smith, just in general. I'm like, I want to see where you went to
Some
medical
credentials for this, yeah.
And he asks her very dramatically, it's like, Georgia, are you there? And she's like, I don't know that name, good sir. With this like weird voice, and I'm like, what is happening? And so he asks her, it's like, well, if you're not Georgia, who are you? And she says that she is Sandra Jean Jenkins. A
Fakest sounding
yes,
name.
yeah, American Girl doll.
It really does sound like an American Girl doll.
Sandra Jean Jenkins?
Yes. And
Come up with a fake last name right now. Jenkins? Yeah.
Yeah. Chair? No, Jenkins. Jenkins. That's what I meant to say.
Chair. Sandra Jean Chair.
Sandra Jean Chair is a totally different person. But.
Yeah, that's a different life. I, in a past life, used to be Sandra Jean Chair.
I could tell that about you.
Yeah.
It's my psychic abilities. Yeah. All right, so she claims that Sandra was born in 1895 and had a fiance named Tommy Hicks, who may be eligible for MVM.
Yeah, that's
It was
true.
very thick. Like, I definitely wanted to, like, pet it.
Was
because it
this
was
the
very
one where
soft.
they were on a river?
For
Yes.
a long time.
For a year or
I thought they
more.
were, like, crossing the Atlantic in a riverboat somehow.
I thought that mustache looked fake.
Oh, it was.
It looked way fake.
It was huge.
Taped on.
It was a gigantic mustache.
Liz is
It might have
pantomiming.
actually been Mothman.
Yeah, it
Just
might
sitting
have.
on his
face.
upper lip. He also was noted to wear a bowler hat. They make that it's like a young man in a bowler hat.
What?
They also,
Turn of the century.
turn of the century. I also noted young man. It's like, and they were sweethearts about to get married. And it's like, he's 20 years older than her. Like, the actress they have playing Sandra looks
Yeah.
about 15 and he looks about 40, which I guess wouldn't be that weird back then, but
No.
it creeped me out considerably.
Yeah,
The
I
bowler
don't know
hat
that
didn't help.
I don't know that I would call that relationship a couple of sweethearts.
Young sweethearts.
Yeah.
You know, that 40-year-old young sweetheart.
Where
with
he's
his
like,
15-year-old
my other
girlfriend.
3 wives have passed on, so it's time.
Well, also, so they talk about, like, there's this trauma she's going through when she, like, Sandra realizes Tommy is gone. And it's unclear if he's, like, fallen off the boat that they're on for, like,
That's kind of what I thought, but I was not
Or
sure.
if he just, like, skipped town. Like, it never says it's like, oh, he died. But
Yeah, he's just gone.
he's just gone, which I'm like, I don't know, I'm getting some skeezy vibes
What happened
from
to
Tommy
Tommy?
Hicks. And also, it's revealed that she is pregnant. And they have not been married. And she's like 5 years old or whatever. It's all very troubling. But at the same time that she's going through these, like, older visions of, like, her being, like, an unwed mother and all this, she also is having flashbacks of being, like, 8 years old and, like,
Yes.
smelling horses and, like, on the steps of a church and it's, like, her grandma's gravestone. It's all very strange and very slow. So slow.
Yeah, it takes like 14 minutes for reenactment Sandra Jean Jenkins to walk through a cemetery in her like
The
weird
longest
old
cemetery.
wedding dress. I don't know.
I thought it was supposed to be maybe like a
Baptismal gown
yeah,
or
like
something.
communion or something.
Okay.
I don't know, but it was
It's her
eerie.
ghost dress.
Okay.
Right.
Do you get
Fair.
2 ghosts? Like an older one and like an 8-year-old
Okay,
communion
very
ghost?
important.
This is very important. What Liz is about to
Dangerous
say.
Linda. This changes my whole life. Dangerous Linda said it is a myth that the outfit you die in is your ghost outfit.
Ooh, do I get to pick them?
Yes. You get to pick your ghost
That
outfit.
people will
Picked.
see you in
I've
something
decided.
that's like associated with you.
Or like your favorite outfit.
Yeah. So if I,
I have a
so
really
I'm gonna
hot
probably
dress I wanna be a
be in
ghost
my.
in.
I'm probably
can.
gonna be in my pajamas.
Okay.
And that's how you'll know that's really my ghost.
I'll be wearing leggings and a t-shirt.
I have a very like
Which is
Jessica,
what I'm wearing right now.
Jessica Rabbit-esque
Arden
dress
will,
that I want to be a ghost
Arden
in.
is gonna appear as a ghost in full Jessica Rabbit cosplay, and then
Yeah.
we'll be like, oh yeah, that's Arden.
Yeah.
Arden's gonna be super sexy. I'm gonna be eating cheesies in my
Yeah.
pajama pants.
I want to be one of those ghosts that like seduces people and I'm like, psych, I'm a ghost, and then freaks them out.
That sounds like a great way to spend eternity.
Yeah, make that show.
Yeah.
That would be.
I would
oh,
watch the hell
Ghost
out of that
Slut.
show. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Any producers listening,
Call
I
us.
own the rights to Ghost Slut. First off,
Let's make a deal.
hit me up.
Get Arden a meeting for Ghost Slut.
Yes, please. Please. And so at this point in the story, Georgia she also has this like memory of this name, Marietta, which at first we're like, is that like a person? No, it's a town. And that's the town that Sandra Jean Jenkins is supposedly from. And so she finds some very nice townspeople who are very helpful. Like, I would not help this woman.
No,
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't either.
I don't necessarily think this is all a lie, but even if I was like mildly suspicious, I'm like, no, weirdo.
It just seems like, I don't know how, but I would, if someone came up to me and was like, hey, I'm trying to find out about my past life, I would be like, this is a con.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
I lived here in my past life. I'm like, no, go away. This is my house
Excuse
now.
me, I'm trying to operate this pizza shop. Please
Yeah.
leave.
Like, well, that's great for you, but I have things to do.
Like, are you gonna buy a pizza or not? Like, what are you doing here? Get out. Why are these cameras in my face? Why is Robert Stack here?
Okay, if Robert Stack was there, I'd probably cooperate.
Are you gonna
He
buy
just
a
hypnotized
pizza or
me
not?
with his voice. And I'd be like, okay, it's fine.
It's fine.
that
Robert Stack
Burberry?
says it's fine. Yeah. Where do I get one of these trench coats? Do you just have like a truck of them that follows you around?
Yes. Gets a speck on it. Immediately they swoosh in,
Yeah.
put a new one on. So she meets this seemingly random old guy newspaper reporter, Ted Bauer, and he's like leading her around the town. And supposedly she knows a lot of details about how the town used to be that even some of like the old timers, they say, in town don't know. Like she describes this ice cream shop.
But it
The-
just sounded
she
like the
couldn't
most
have figured that
typical
out.
ice cream shop. She was like,
Yeah.
it had tile and it
Red
sold
and
ice
white.
cream.
Yeah. The only thing about this that I'm like, I kept having to remind myself is like, this is all pre-Google. That's the only
Sure.
thing that gives this any credence to me is like,
Sure.
right now I could do this con right now from my phone.
Sure.
And it's on like 25% battery. But like Georgia Rudolph would have to work super hard for like very little gain. It's not like she's like, this is my inheritance from my ghost.
No, that's the
Like,
thing. Is there's no
That's true.
motivation to make this up.
no. So that's the only thing I'm like, oh, okay, Georgia, sure. But she's like wandering around town and she finds this through the longest cemetery in the world, Where the Cemetery Ends, new poem. She finds this headstone that's supposedly like her grandmother's, and that's the one in the vision she keeps going through. And she's like 8 in her weird ghost dress.
She's like, I've had this dream 200 or 300 times.
Like, that's insane.
where I
Yeah,
walk up
it's
to this
not
grave and now I know exactly where to go.
Even like my reoccurring nightmares, I've not had that many times. That's
200?
That could be you had the
Crazy.
same dream every night for a year.
Right.
Oof. Yikes. That's like a bad Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah, don't actually. No meetings are available for that. Please don't make that movie.
No,
No,
we're
I don't
Focus on Ghost Slut.
Ghost Slut. I'm working on the,
Yeah, I like it.
Ghost Slut.
I would watch.
Yeah.
I would watch for sure. Maybe it could be a Netflix original or something.
If
Sure.
any of the producers from Charmed are available, I feel like this is very compatible.
They are
So-
bringing Charms back, right? So
I
this
have
could be
a lot of mixed feelings about this, but I'm overall excited.
this could be another project for them.
Really how I honed my witch slut aesthetic as a young girl.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
Charmed was the shit.
My mom didn't want me to watch Charmed, so of course I watched Charmed every single day.
Sure,
Obviously.
that's how that
Before
happens.
school, because my mom had to leave early. So I was like, ha, 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 Charmed hour means not doing my homework, eating breakfast. This is Charmed time now. And so she finds all these things. There's like an angel statue with a raised arm near her grandma's, and like it's all very mysterious. And
But is Suzette Chair, whatever her name was,
Yes.
buried in that cemetery?
Suzette Chair?
Chair.
So from
Whatever her
this
name was.
random woman's grave, let's just like, if this isn't real, like this is just some random woman's family you're harassing. She meets up with that family, and they're also super weirdly nice and show her a bunch of pictures and all these things. And there's no record for anyone named Sandra Jean Jenkins. And then she backs up at this point and is like, the girl who I call Sandra. And I'm like, is
that
your
her
past
name?
life giving you an alias? Like, this makes no sense.
And the photo that they look at is like the thing from The Shining. It's
Yes.
terrifying.
Yep. Yup. Scary.
I think the Golden State Killer is sitting in there too. You gotta find him in the group photo.
Frightening.
It's everyone in this whole family standing out in front of their house, but just because of how photography used to be, everybody's standing completely still and just staring in their white dresses.
Yeah.
And
the white dresses, too, is what makes it
yeah, it's creepy.
horrifying.
This is a suicide cult.
Yeah.
Class photo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Suicide cult.
Well,
class
speaking
photo.
of suicide cult class photo, so this wraps up with her like final memory of this girl who is supposedly at the turn of the century, like 15-year-old unmarried pregnant lady, which would suck.
Sure,
admittedly.
it sounds terrible.
So we see her as her like slightly older self in a also ghostly white dress wading into an icy winter river, the very like turn of the century Ophelia kind of way.
Yes, she's gonna weigh down her pockets with rocks and
Walk into
leave
the
leave
river.
this realm.
Yes. And so apparently that's the end of it. And apparently these people said that this one woman who's like standing apart from all the others, which is also kind of weird,
It's creepy.
Yeah.
was died out back of the house. So that's supposed to confirm this detail of
It's
the
like,
story.
we don't know who this woman was, but she did die, so maybe that was you.
Well,
But she didn't look 15 at all.
no, this woman looks like 50.
Yeah. that was not Sandra. I
But
don't
so did
understand.
everyone.
Well,
like
true.
every
Yeah.
adult looked like 40 years older in
True.
the past. They had hard lives.
The good point.
The only thing I could see about this is like with many families back there, if you were like an unwed mother, they would just like completely cut you out.
It's
That's
True.
true. You would be sent to like institution or something.
Yeah.
I just think it's so convenient.
It's very convenient.
That because she committed suicide, she couldn't be buried in the cemetery, so she's buried nearby in an unmarked grave.
Yes.
I mean,
Which also plausible,
I
but
guess.
very convenient.
Yeah.
it's just weird that she picked that name. Like, why wouldn't she
Also,
pick
there's
the
no
name
record
of...
of anyone in that town ever being called
Yeah.
Sandra Jean Jenkins.
No, like all of these things except her name, what I call her by, or Sandra is Robert Stack.
Part of the reason why we have so much information from history is because they used to put everything in the newspaper. Or that was from
Dangerous Linda.
Dangerous Linda said that one of the reasons we have all this information is because they used to put everything in the newspaper. Birth announcements, wedding announcements.
It was
would
just
all
like-
go in there.
Where you lived?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's the creepiest part to me.
John down the street broke his arm. Like, that would all go in the newspaper. And so the fact that there's no record of anyone named Sandra
Yeah.
Jean Jenkins being born in this town ever.
Burned
is like,
all the newspapers.
Even if
Yeah.
they wouldn't have put anything about her death because she committed suicide, and even if they would have kicked her out of the family because she got pregnant, there would still be a birth announcement.
Right.
Or like an engagement announcement
Or-
if they were
Yes.
like getting married. And this seems like a
Yes.
well-to-do family.
Yep.
She would have gotten confirmed. She would
Yeah.
have gone to someone's
In that
stupid
weird
party. She would have...
Been on a school register somewhere.
Yeah, she
like,
would have
yeah.
been in a parade. She would have...
And this
Whatever.
doesn't seem like a super like fairly rural, but not like middle of nowhere
No.
rural area. This is a town.
They had
They-
That
carriages
still
and
exists.
shit.
It still exists, and that one old
Very
man
smelly horses.
yeah, seems very dedicated to collecting the local history,
Mm-hmm.
and someone would have something about it.
No one seems like 100% buying it too. Like no one in
Yeah.
this besides Georgia.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe this made Georgia's feel like her life was more interesting. I
Sure.
don't want to be mean about it, but I'm not really buying
She
it.
seems like a nice lady. She
Yeah,
also doesn't
she
seem like
seems
she's trying to
stable.
con anyone.
Right. She's not
She
taking money
doesn't
from
read any
people.
psychic magazines.
Ghost dowry.
I don't think she's trying to like hurt anyone. I'm not sure I think it's true.
It was not worth 2 episodes either. I'll say that.
No.
Unsolved Mysteries.
That's
Maybe
the
it was
real-
just it was a slow season.
That's
for
the real
Unsolved
crime.
Mysteries. Yeah.
Why was this a two-parter?
Wasted a little bit of time, I'd say.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, good job, Arden.
Thank you,
covered that
Arden.
one really well.
And now it's done, and we don't have to think about those slow-motion horses anymore.
No, never again.
Okay, I'm next. I have an unexplained death. This is the death of Steve Sandlin in Mountain Air, all one word, New Mexico, in May 7th,
We have
1988.
so many New Mexico mysteries.
I was wondering if it's just me feeling like biased towards New Mexico mysteries, but we actually do talk about New Mexico a lot, don't we?
a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where Mountain Air is. Hello to anyone listening in Mountain Air. So, Steve, who look at this intense brooding photo of
I
him.
know. Steve was a hottie. Like,
That hair comes down really far on
I'm
his
into
forehead.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
got a swoop.
No, I'm distracted. Okay, so Steve, he was a 21-year-old rookie police officer, and he was found shot in his own police station while working alone just 8 weeks after joining the force. Mm-hmm. Does that sound suspicious to you?
I also want to point out that this force was 4 other people.
Yeah, I mean, how big is the police force of Mountain Air?
It's more of a push than a force.
They also, but Robert Stack also tried to slip in that they had a problem in the area with people growing pot, yet still had a very small police force.
Yeah.
Which kind of reminds me of the Bates Motel, if anybody's watched that show, spinoff of Psycho. That kind of has the same premise a little bit. But anyway. So, the mystery is, what happened to Steve? The police department would like you to think that he killed himself while at the police station. Despite the fact that it was his dream to become a police officer, his father was a police officer, and they show, like, little Steve dressing up in his clothes, and it's super cute.
His dad was a little hot, too. I could tell where he got it from.
Also, reenactment. I wrote down that reenactment Steve was pretty cute.
Yeah. Into it.
So, I have a couple mustache nominations from this. This one, if you remember a guy that had a really pale mustache.
I do remember.
His name was David Carson. I'm calling his mustache the Ghost.
Okay, yep.
And then there was a different, he must have been a cop too. I just wrote that this was the Saddam Hussein.
Or was it Steve's dad, maybe? He had a very brooding mustache.
That might, yes.
Saddam Hussein.
It is.
Saddam Hussein's mustache.
It was. You're not wrong.
It's like Steve's hair swoop, but just lower down on the face. Just migrates.
That's what happens when you get older. Your hairline migrates to your lip.
To your lip. It doesn't recede. It comes down.
That's happened to some people. So, Steve had been on the force a whole 8 weeks. It was apparently not quite what he thought it was going to be. People reported that he felt discouraged, which is sad because he was only 8 weeks in.
Yeah.
And he was already like, I'm guessing going, either these guys have no idea what they're doing, or they're corrupt as hell, or both.
I think it was maybe both.
I think it was
Seems
maybe
likely.
both. Yeah. His last phone call was to his girlfriend, Michelle. Did I have to say, did I love her eye look?
Everything.
Blue eyeliner. She's got huge blonde crimped hair. Michelle, where are you now?
This fashion is going to ride entirely on Michelle and that muff because her fashion was on point.
It really was.
So he just had a totally normal phone conversation with her at some point during his shift, and then later turns up dead, and she's like, yeah, I don't think that he killed himself because there's actually no evidence to suggest that. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's found with his gun by his side. The bullet that kills him is from his gun. There are several bloodstains found around his body, and he is pronounced dead soon afterwards. I wasn't sure if he was like dead at the scene or he was dead after they moved him. I don't really know. So they were debating in the episode whether he committed suicide or it was a tragic accident, or maybe he was killed and it was covered up by the police department. And the police department tries to claim that either he killed himself or he liked to play with his gun, and so that it might
Good cop stuff.
might have accidentally gone off. And then his mom was like, look, maybe when he was younger, when he was young,
A child.
and carefree, maybe he would have played with a gun, but not serious Steve, who's a cop now.
Also, yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, certainly some people accidentally shoot themselves, but...
Also, I just want to say this police department clearly so much does not want this to be ruled a murder. It's almost like the hedgehogs. It's like or like some might say this is a hoax, but that's the most ridiculous theory. Some might say this is clearly a murder, but that's the most ridiculous theory.
They're like, either he committed suicide or it was an accident. And it's like, well, what if someone killed him? No.
Definitely.
Couldn't have been that.
Couldn't be that. So he talks to his girlfriend, and then it's less than an hour that he's dead. Okay. His autopsy results are deemed inconclusive. It seems that his gun was shot at least 2 feet away from his head. Mm-hmm. And there is insignificant powder residue on his hands. And as Samantha pointed out, you can get powder residue just from being in a police car or a police station. So he would have had some, no matter what. The Attorney General refused to rule out suicide, so his family began their own investigation. And they were suspicious because they thought he knew too much about the illegal activity going on in the town, and that perhaps other cops had been looking the other way. And so they tell the story about him busting a guy who ended up having pot in his car, and then that guy threatening him and his family. and that was a few weeks before his death. He had been originally arrested for drunk driving, and then it turned out he had a bunch of pot. So he started to receive death threats after that, and then turned up dead. Like an accident.
Weird.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. So it's mostly the cops being like, no, it couldn't be murder.
And I know we try and avoid talking about how people act, but that police chief could not possibly have acted more suspicious.
No. That's
if people, because there's witnesses who saw him at the police station like the night that he died, and he's like, there's no way I was at a school event. If people think they saw
300 people.
Yeah, we're like, okay.
We didn't actually ask where you were. That's weird. You just brought that up.
Right.
It definitely wasn't me. That's for sure. Yeah.
I don't know why you would ask where I was.
It's like a Scooby-Doo villain.
A little bit.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, when his family goes to, like, clean out his house after the cops have been there, his girlfriend opens a drawer, and it's just, like, full of giant bags of pot.
So hard.
Like, which is also clearly oregano.
I know. I was like, this is a lot of oregano.
It's like, and then she calls the cop in and is like, guys, look at how much spices Steve had stocked away.
He
and
loved pasta.
And they're like, that's weird, because the cops have already been over this house, and they would have definitely found this pot that's just sitting in a drawer, and it's also
drawer.
like
Pounds of it.
So much of it. So clearly it was like put there after the cops had searched his house after he died. Okay, so this is the results from Unsolved Mysteries Wiki. It is unresolved. The authorities learned that 5 months before Steve was killed, law enforcement received a tip that a police officer was going to be killed by drug dealers. Investigators noticed that the evidence at the scene suggested the body had been moved.
Suicides do that a lot.
Right.
I'm just so frustrated that the police were clearly no help in solving the mystery of one of their own's death. This guy that really wanted to join the police force?
And frankly, was a fifth of the police force. You just lost a lot of your manpower.
Scientists determined that Steve was ducking away from the gun when he had been shot.
Classic suicide.
Steve's case was later classified as a homicide, but no one has ever been arrested, and the case remains unsolved.
Yeah, someone would have to investigate in order to make an arrest.
When questioned by an army officer, the soldier who found Steve's body claimed he would go to jail if he, quote, told the truth. The investigator believed that he was withholding information. Oh, you don't say. Investigators also learned that the police officer from another agency had confessed to killing him. The officer allegedly said if he kept his nose out of things, he'd be better off. However, it is unknown if the police ever followed up on this confession. What?
Okay.
No need to follow up.
Why
on
would
that.
you?
It's fine.
One of the prime suspects in this case, Melvin King, died in 2004. King was the man that Steve had arrested and found all that pot on. Also, the marijuana that was confiscated from King had gone missing from the evidence room and might have been the pot in Steve's house.
Or they had a lot of Italian food to make.
Or, yeah, they needed
Possibly.
so much oregano.
They were having a pasta cookout.
They really did not care that Steve died.
No, it's sad.
I'm assuming that the town pot dealers had a deal with the police and to look the other way, and Steve was going to fuck that up.
Yeah, seems
That's
like
my hunch. I feel bad for Steve and his hot reenactment dude.
I feel like his dad should know more. It's like, weren't you very
Yeah.
recently part of the police force?
These are
Like,
probably like your friends and people
Yeah.
you worked with for a really long time, and they just covered up your son's murder,
at
it
the
seems
least,
like.
they at least covered up your
Yeah.
son's murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the police station.
His parents also seemed very young to me. Like, that's not
also true.
important, but I was like, wow, did you go to high school with your parents? Like, they seem like they're they would be the same age as you would be now.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad one,
Yeah.
but
It's a bummer.
no justice for Steve, man.
Nope. All right, we have one more. and
Oh my
it's-
god, there was another mustache.
Wow!
This is his stepdad, Edward O'Martin, and I called it the ranch hand.
I
It
like
was one of
that.
those mustaches that goes like around the lip, you know? It's like got a little cul-de-sac.
Yep. That mustache smells like coffee.
Definitely.
Yep.
Oh, also,
Folgers.
Steve
Yeah,
would
Folgers.
make... Steve was apparently very diligent and made cassette recordings of all of his traffic stops.
I was very proud
Oh.
of that.
But
Cops
then
still don't want to do that.
yeah,
I know.
Sorry,
he
cops.
was clearly like just taking that on himself to do. That was not like their procedure, and all of those tapes were missing after his death.
Oh.
That was also super weird.
Sorry, Steve.
All right, there is one more mystery. It's really like an America's Most Wanted segment, I would say.
It also assumes you don't know what meth is.
It does. It does. I see this segment opens with a close-up shot of some sinister-looking laboratory equipment. Someone literally pours like a dark liquid into a beaker.
Meth.
Yeah,
that's meth.
That's what meth looks like, I assume.
Meth just kind of looks like molasses, right?
I did say it's a good thing he's wearing his PPE. He's got the gloves. He's got his goggles.
Sure.
He might as well have had a hard hat on. He's making this meth the right way.
When OSHA stops by, he wants to make sure that he fits all of those safety requirements. Just because he's making meth doesn't mean he's not concerned about safety.
I don't exactly recall, but there may have been like a Simpson safety poster on the wall.
One of those eye wash stations. Yes.
It seems like a safer workplace than the police station.
I mean,
yeah.
yes. So Robert's Tack says, today, one of the front lines of the war on drugs is inside illicit laboratories such as this. Using common chemicals, the operators of these small mobile labs manufacture the highly addictive methamphetamines known as meth, crank, or crystal.
I lost it at this.
I could really go for some crank, you guys. No one calls it that
Refreshing.
anymore.
Or just
sweet,
crystal.
sweet crank.
It's like Crystal Light.
Yeah.
Oh, I could go for some Crystal Light, yeah.
This is why we can't, and this is why it's hard to get real Sudafed now. Thanks to these
It's true!
meth cooks.
So, Robert's Tack says, tonight, police need help arresting one of the most notorious of these meth cooks.
Excuse
Why
me.
is that so funny, that phrase?
No. I did write
These meth cooks.
that this is the Gordon Ramsay of meth chefs.
Oh, you just wanted to
I was
work
gonna say,
Gordon
excuse
Ramsay.
me.
I know.
into
I'm a
every-
meth chef.
I'm a meth chef. You'll call me chef.
Yeah, chef.
Yes, chef. Get this meth out on the street. Yes, chef.
I also have a little note in here that they need help arresting him. Why do they need help
Are you
arresting
gonna
him?
do a citizen's arrest of this meth cook?
I don't think him.
Is
but
citizen's arrest a real thing?
I don't know. You're under citizen's arrest. Be like, all right, I'm gonna walk away now. Like,
Isn't that just
Sort of.
kidnapping and holding people against their will?
It's basically just waiting for actual cops to show up.
Oh.
Like, it doesn't do anything. You can't arrest people because you're not a cop. That's not how this works.
But Samantha, what is the name of this most notorious meth chef?
Jonathan John Brown, aka Thumper.
Yeah, his name is Thumper.
Okay, to be fair, that is an improvement over Jonathan John.
Brown.
Yeah.
I thought at first.
What boring parents he has.
At first, I thought that Jonathan John, like they were saying Jonathan, aka John.
Yeah.
No, that's his whole name is Jonathan
Jonathan
John
John.
Brown.
JJ.
Yeah. So
He had no choice to become a meth chef, really.
I mean, really.
Set up against him.
According to investigators, Jonathan John Brown, aka Thumper, has masterminded the construction of methamphetamine labs across the country.
Yep, he's Walter White.
Yep.
He's the original one.
So we see him in his lab working on his meth, and then in comes a Hell's Angel with a big jug,
Yeah, that's how meth is moved
puts it on
around.
the floor. Yeah, that's how you know this is shady. They're wearing leather jackets.
At one point, this is a little bit later, but it is about the fashion. When a bunch of people are like running out of the meth lab, one of them is dressed like a member of Kiss. Like they're not just wearing a leather jacket. The leather jacket is fringy. They're wearing like leather leggings and like giant high boots, and their hair is all like punked out. Like
The shot of them raiding the meth lab with
This is
all
how
of
this works.
the meth gang on the ground, and yeah, they all look like that. It's ridiculous.
So if I'm gonna buy meth, I guess I want to buy it from that person.
Yeah.
They better be snazzy.
So,
Yeah.
So Thumper is the charter member of the motorcycle gang known as the Hessians.
And the secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the treasurer.
He takes the minutes
takes-
when they have meetings.
He knows Robert. He's the only one that knows all of Robert's rules, so he has to do it.
Do you want me to put the minutes on the Google Doc, guys?
He complains about having to do the minutes.
Let's see what we
every
talked about
time.
last meeting. Yeah.
Murder. Chains.
Where are we getting our acid? Yeah.
To drink enough kombucha to have jugs available to put the meth in. just biker gang stuff.
Yeah, biker gang. Regular biker gang stuff.
So we hear that Thumper was previously tracked to a meth lab in California. An undercover officer saw him carrying 6 5-gallon containers of acetone, or about 30 gallons, into the meth lab.
Just open a nail salon.
You know what?
Yeah.
Calm down. It's
Yeah,
fine.
you gotta soak your nails in the acetone.
It's a lot of glitter.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much you need to get that stuff off.
It's awful. It's worse than meth.
So, almost as bad as the members of the gang are these fake cops in the reenactment. One of them has the widest stance. I'm like, what are you doing,
It's like
dude?
starfishing.
I'm just like, what is he doing?
He's doing the YMCA dance, but with his legs.
Pretty much.
He's doing it wrong.
Sensual.
Practically doing the splits. I'm like, dude. Okay. So police closed in on Thumper, and we see the cop actors.
At one point in the gang, there's a dog, and I asked
Every
if
ragtag gang of meth cooks has a dog.
I was
Liz.
like, is the dog wanted too? Oh, their dog.
So, Robert Stack says that before serious charges could be filed, Thumper was free on bond.
Oh my
Which is
god.
a strange sentence for Robert Stack to say. He skipped town and now he's wanted and there's no update. That's literally it.
I can't not think of the rabbit from Bambi.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
why would he
Cooking
want
up
his-
meth in a
Why would he want his
trailer
name to be
home?
Thumper? Also, Robert
Don't know.
Stack ambiguously refers to the fact that he has tattoos, and he has a giant Nazi iron cross on his neck.
Thank you. I wanted to mention that. It's distinctive tattoos. I'm
Oh, very distinctive. That mugshot of Thumper,
You
too.
might want to
Oh,
mention
boy.
the guy's a Nazi.
that's not important.
I mean, I think they were trying to
What's more important is he's the best meth cook around, all right?
Well, we'll never
Meth
know.
chef.
Yes, he's the chef.
Yes, chef. We'll never know. Was he caught?
He's just
No,
going
there's
around
no update.
to meth
Whoa.
kitchens all around the country trying to improve them. They're
I
going to
assume
close
he got a
soon.
Michelin star or something.
He had to get the meth cook nightmares.
Those are way worse.
He would go to the lab, and he'd be like,
Nothing is labeled in here. What the fuck?
this is gonna explode.
There's no dates. Things are not separate.
Your Yelp reviews are terrible.
Okay, so that's the episode. Should we rate it?
Yes, why not?
All right, number 1 is mysteriousness. What do you guys think?
It's really not that mysterious. I guess
What?
who killed Steve?
The past life is not mysterious.
No,
Yes,
it's
who
really
killed Steve is mysterious. What do you think, Arden?
It's somewhat mysterious, but at the same time, it's really not. There's
Yeah.
3 people who probably killed Steve. It's just
Yeah.
who, or if it was all of them.
4 other cops.
Yeah, right. There can't be that many suspects because there wouldn't be that many people in the police station.
If this was a game of Clue, it would be over really quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say sideways, I guess.
I was going to go thumbs down, but...
Okay,
We-
that's
Go
fine.
with sideways. How did she know about that ice cream shop? How? So mysterious.
Because she basically was like, it had tile. I don't know.
Ooh. And red and white stripes, which no ice cream shop has ever had.
Yeah, I feel like it was a good guess, but maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
What do I know?
All right, reenactments.
Pretty bad.
It's so bad they're good. This is...
I enjoyed it, ironically.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good horse jokes out of them.
That's
but-
true.
They were just so long. And
That's
then
true. So
the
close.
meth ones are just ridiculous. And it makes it hard to take seriously that this country has a really serious opioid problem when you're picturing meth being sold by the members of KISS.
That's true.
And
That's
dogs.
And Gordon Ramsay.
And Gordon Ramsay.
Yep.
Falling on hard times. Where he's got an
Can you
Annette
imagine
tattoo.
Gordon Ramsay dressed up like a member of KISS, though? That's really
all,
amusing.
That's all Samantha wants to imagine.
It's a whole Pinterest board.
Sure.
dedicated to
Sure, that's my secret Pinterest board.
That's why they made that an option.
Yeah. Secret.
They know what we need. I mean, come on. So
Photoshop.
yeah, I guess I have like a shaky thumb sideways.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I go sideways. I didn't dislike them entirely.
They were amusing for sure.
It's a little something different, I guess.
Yeah. All right, fashion.
Excellent.
We got the muff. We got the poofy wedding
We got
dress.
a lot of different
Steve's
leather
girlfriend.
jackets. Yeah, Steve's girlfriend
Oh
is
my
stylish.
Yep.
So great.
Steve,
All of those meth lab workers.
yeah, so I think we have to say thumbs up.
Yep, thumbs up for that. And Robert Stack, we hardly saw him.
Oh, I did write down something about Robert Stack fashion. It's on
Okay.
the other side. So because when he opens my segment, which I didn't note, but he's either walking what's either like a super swanky mausoleum or a really spooky museum.
I remember
think
the
he's
mausoleum.
at Hollywood Forever Cemetery's mausoleum.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it is a really
Few.
swanky mausoleum.
Because it has like giant marble statues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
think
like, this
that
is
is
either a
it.
super goth museum,
Which would be
or-
cool.
Yeah, also cool, or just like the fanciest mausoleum. And he's wearing like a really well tailored suit.
That's
I
true.
remembered his suit and tie combo in the first one.
All right, well, then, thumbs up for that.
Thumbs up for Rubber Stack. So we can give this anywhere from 0 to 5 Rubber Stacks. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna say 3.
Okay, yeah, I feel good at a 3.
3.
It's like a mixed bag.
Yeah. It's not the worst, not the best.
Yeah.
It's kind of been the story of
The
season
pacing
2, really.
was just awful. That's the main issue.
Yes.
If that past life thing wasn't so long, it would be good.
Like half
Right.
an hour long.
But they really milked it, and there's just not that much there.
No, I don't understand why they drew that one out so much. So yeah, 3.
Yeah.
3.
If it could have been done a little bit better, I would say. There's room for improvement, which
Yes.
will never happen.
I agree. Well, yeah, it's too late now.
That's my constructive criticism.
Thanks.
Which mustache are we going with as the winner? The ghost, the Saddam Hussein, or the ranch hand?
That's a hard choice.
I kind of say the ghost.
Yeah, I liked the ghost.
So
It's just so
creepy,
pale
though.
and
Yeah.
weird.
You almost couldn't see it unless you looked really close.
I know. I kind of hate it a lot. Maybe that should be the winner.
It's a little bit like the long winter in that way.
Yes.
Which the long winter really unsettled some people. I didn't quite.
I did not like that.
until I posted it in our Facebook group. I didn't realize.
It's very prickly.
It's very prickly.
Speaking of hedgehogs, it is unsettling texture. That
It's
you
like
would-
your weird uncle who tries to kiss you at like a family reunion.
Yeah.
and has like, really
and-
stanky breath.
And it's just like you're like impaling my cheek.
I can
with your
feel the mustache prickles.
No.
Yeah,
no.
it's pretty unsettling.
all right. I'm sorry,
So-
everyone, about the long winter.
Okay, well,
God, Liz.
that wraps up this episode. So, since we are always thinking of recommendations, it's not always easy to keep coming up with, hot new things to recommend to you. We invited Arden to share
We
with
just
us
made Arden do that too.
a recommendation.
And it's a very politically motivated recommendation. So
Arden, keep politics out.
I am
Just
so
kidding.
sorry. This
No.
is so unrelated.
Don't be sorry. Those people
to
don't,
this
don't listen to the podcast anymore.
Yeah, we need to weed those out anyway. We can't
Yeah.
be pleasing them.
And I mean, to be fair, this is actually a pretty politically neutral political thing
Okay,
because
okay.
like this is sort of just like this is information and you can make up your mind one way or another depending on
Oh.
your views.
Oh, I like it.
So this is it's in its like beta testing phase, but it is a new website called categorizedtweets.com. And you can go on there and put in your zip code and it'll pull up all of your representatives' tweets on different issues, and it's got them by category. So what your representatives have said about gun control, what your representatives have said on immigration or education, and they're all in neat categories. So you're like, is this person terrible on this issue? And you can click on it and see their whole like online history of what they've said about it.
That's amazing.
Brilliant.
I know.
We are in the Twitter age of
Yep.
politics now, thanks to our commander-in-chief. And it's hard to sift through Twitter and come up with any kind of cohesive understanding of someone's...
I really dislike being on Twitter all the
Yeah.
time. It's exhausting. For
I-
me,
I-
so
yes.
this is very helpful.
That is very helpful. What's it called again?
Categorized tweets.
Okay, I like
That's
it.
really good. I think that's, election season's coming up.
It is coming up.
You
Oh,
can-
also register to vote.
Yes, please do that. Or Samantha and I will come to your house and nag you.
You can also, if you live in Minnesota, you can also do that online. It's super easy.
You sure can.
'Cause I posted.
I
about it,
am
like,
registered to
10
vote, I
times.
promise.
Me too.
Don't come yell at me, Samantha.
I promise I won't.
I had moved since the last time I voted, so I had to re-register with my new address.
Fortunately, Minnesota is a very pro-voting state. It's very easy to vote here.
It's almost like they want you to vote.
You can vote absentee with no. You don't have to provide a reason. You just can.
Mm-hmm.
Right up until the election day. It's very easy.
I'm just
here.
imagining someone in like Australia or something right now being like, wait, there's states where it's hard to vote? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it's also true.
It's very true.
They make it as
Terrifying.
hard as possible
Yes.
legally.
Also, why is election day like a day everybody has to work? Such
Because they
BS.
don't want you to vote.
Yes, I know.
That's
terrible.
why.
If you are listening to this and you are a person with the power to give your employees time off to go vote, please do that because that will make us very happy.
Yeah.
All right, I think we yelled at people enough. That's a good recommendation, Arden. Thank
Great
you.
recommendation.
I would also like to recommend Trader Joe's mango wine. in honor of the downtown Trader Joe's just opening. It's
Mango wine.
It's basically like lightly
lovely.
carbonated alcohol juice, and it's a huge problem. And it's like $5 a bottle. So don't walk, run to your nearest Trader Joe's.
That's also the exact
paid me.
price I like to pay for
Right?
wine.
I like paying no higher than that for wine.
Yes.
Ideally.
I actually have rosé in the fridge right now, so we should wrap this up.
All right. That's it, folks. So
That's it. Thanks for listening.
find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Perhaps It's You.
If you have any spooky stories, we are collecting those for our season 2 finale. So if you have come from a family of psychics, guess what? We want to hear about it.
Hell yeah.
That's perhapsitsyoupodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. Try to remember how to send emails and then do that. Mm-hmm. Or we have a form on our website, which is perhapsitsyou.com.
This week we will be releasing our Patreon episode for the month, which is about kitchen nightmares.
So if you need
has
even
so
more
much to do with Unsolved
Gordon
Mysteries.
Ramsay, it has to do with this podcast.
Is it the meth episode?
It is not.
Maybe.
But
Tune in to find out.
I mean, is it though?
What is Amy on? That is a mystery that we will not solve.
But we will talk about on our Patreon
Yeah.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out. Any dollar amount gets you that bonus episode, which is a great deal.
Arden, for some reason, gives us money even though she knows us. That's
I'm
dumb.
solving mysteries.
It's a poor financial decision, but we appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial. I don't know what to do with my money.
I mean,
You spend it all on avocado toast,
Yeah.
and you killed the paper napkin industry,
Yeah.
and this is what's left.
Yes. It's what we do.
It's just what else?
that's it, I think.
Yeah, solve some mysteries, bitches.
Bye.
God damn.